3, 2, 1.
Gentlemen, this is Lenny Williams from the legendary group of Tower of Power, and you have also managed to continue with a flourishing solo career that keeps you all over the map. How do you do that?
I just keep answering the phone, and the phone keep ringing. I keep answering it, checking my email. Somebody's always calling about doing a show, and I go out and do shows, and then people say, "Ooh, I want you to come do a show here and do a show there," and I work with a few different agents, and just keep me busy.
Your music was also sampled by Scarface, and that's someone of my generation. He used one of your cuts. How did that make you feel?
Oh, I was excited about it. I was one of my really dear friends down in Texas, and she called me, and she said, "Brad, I want to sample your song. You want to know if it's okay?" I said, "Oh, yeah, who is Brad?" He said, "Scarface." I said, "Oh, okay." I was actually down in Houston rehearsing for a play that I was doing with Billy D. Williams, and he got my phone number. He called me and said he wanted me to hear it. So he said, so I got in his SUV, and he said, "I got 2 versions." He said, "Nice version for a gentleman like you." And then I got another version. He said, "Which one do you want to hear?" I said, "I want to hear the other version."
For the streets.
So he played me the X-rated street version first. And then he played me, the radio version. I said, "Oh, I was loving both of them." And then he said, "I got your permission." I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, tell me who, that's all I need to know. Tell me who I need to talk to." And then he asked if I wanted to be in the video. And I told him, he said, I told him, no, I should have gone for him. He got TREY SONGZ in the video. So I was excited. Yeah, he sampled it. Kanye West sampled it with TWISTA and all kinds of people. So it's been exciting.
Awesome, and that was definitely a boost and what a way to pay homage to you.
Most definitely, and then I made some money because I wrote it and I published it too, so I was getting those performances every time I got played on radio and, and on TV and all that stuff like that, so, it's just a blessing, yeah, so, Scarface is he's a very interesting person too. He plays all kinds of instruments, and he was letting me hear his playlist. He listens to everything. Country music, opera.
Wow.
It's true. Yeah, he listens to all kinds of music. If you want to hear my playlist, yeah. And he just tell me all the songs he listens to. Yeah, so. The records are kind of interesting, how they go back and they get certain songs. And some of them get some real obscure songs, so it's always kind of interesting to see what they listen to.
Right. And you mentioned something else that was very important. You said you got paid and you got your publishing. Can you break that down?
Well, when you write a song, you just sit in your living room or, in the bedroom or in your car or wherever you write a song, you own it. You own everything. You're the writer, you're the publisher. You might not even know anything about publishing. You own every aspect of that song. So then, once you put that song on a record or a CD or iPod or whatever, put it on iTunes, Amazon, whatever, then as it gets played, then that record it generates what they call performance royalties. And so they have to pay that to somebody. I mean, the government, demands that somebody gets paid. And so they're not generally the publisher. The publisher will take the money, and then the publisher will give it this, he kind of administrates everything, he or she. A lot of times record companies want a part of that,
Right.
Everybody used to be, but back in the day, everybody did it. Everybody, gave up their publishing and everything, in the 30s and the 40s. And then toward the 50s, people like Sam Cooke and them started, like, oh, no, we want, so I guess Sam Cooke's daddy was a preacher, so he understood business because, a preacher got a church, somebody got to pay the light bill and the water bill.
Right.
And you got to get the roof fixed. So, so he's coming out the church, his dad's a preacher, he understands, it's only got about in him, but books and stuff, so he understands business. So Sam, when he broke out, he had his own publishing,
right,
stuff like that. So then people started realizing, hey, I want my publishing. Then it got to a point in the music business where everybody wanted to own their own publishing and all that, and that's cool too. But then, there's something to be said to be with a big publisher, because let's just say if I write a song and I get it out there and I make $500,000 off that song, and then maybe a big publisher might say to me, hey, let me have part of that publishing, and I'm going to get this song in 9 movies. I'm going to have it in every elevator across the United States. I'm going to have it playing at Starbucks. I'm going to have it, playing, at the Giants game or whatever. And then the next thing you know, I made $1 million. Well, that's cool. So sometimes you have to figure out, is it better to hold on to all of it myself, or sometimes to maybe bring in somebody who has a little bit more knowledge than me, and it can make it bigger. So so there's no absolute way to deal with it except to realize that it's all yours, and you have the power to deal with it any way you want, and you just have to be strategic and be very businesslike when you begin to let pieces of it go and make sure that it benefits.
When you made the transition into your solo career from Tower of Power, what was that like?
Well, part of it was effortless. You know what I mean? I was with Child Power on Warner Brothers. I made the decision to leave, and then I let Warner Brothers know I was going to leave. I was working on an album. They just let me take that record, even though they had given me some money for it. They gave me $25,000. And I left, and I went to Motown, and they were like, "Oh, the dude said from Child Power, yeah, cool." They gave me $60,000. I gave them that record, and it flopped.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It didn't sell. It didn't sell. My mom didn't buy a copy, And then, so then it was like, dang, So then Motown was trying to figure out what to do with me. Well, I just wanted to leave Motown, because I was a little embarrassed about the record flopping and everything. And so, then people started telling me, "Oh, you made a mistake. You shouldn't have left." And I was like, "Y'all crazy." I'm on my journey. And about a year and a half later, I started thinking, "Oh, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have left." And then I went to ABC Records, and they signed me. We believe in you. And they hooked me up with Frank Wilson, who was a Motown producer who had just left Motown, striking out on his own. And then he sent me some songs. I was like, "Oh, this song sounds good." Then he sent me some more songs, and I was writing, sending some songs, and next thing bam! I had, a hit record, and I was back on, So it was, it was a smooth transition in terms of, the contracts and, finding, another place to do my thing. But, getting, the real bottom line of having a hit, it took me about a couple of years.
Have you ever had a point in your career where you just said, man, this isn't going to work?
Well, once I had that hit over there, that Choosing You album, and then I turned around and I did the Spark of Love album, and I did 79, and then that went gold. And then when I was at Child Power, we had never had a gold record. It was so very hard to go, what is it, all that stuff, that record never went gold. And, back to Oakland, didn't go gold. So I was ahead of the game. Then Frank Wilson started preaching, and then, he did my third album, but, he had kind of divided loyalties, between the music and, his, Christian calling, right? His preaching thing. So the record just didn't really happen.
Right.
And that record didn't sell, and then ABC went out of business, sold to MCA, and MCA didn't know what to do with black music, so they bought ABC, and, they had to float it in the Dramatics, and, and me and the Crusaders, and Tom Petty, they had to do with Tom Petty, and people like that. They didn't know what to do, you did the King, of course, So then, that record didn't sell. Then that next record didn't sell, so then they let me go. And then things kind of got weird, it just got weird, and I'm out working, and I'm, doing these big gigs and stuff. I'm up to Terry Pendergrass and stuff, and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, it just dried up. singing, nothing was happening. I let my band go. And then I looked up, I had done a gig in 6 months. Then I looked up, I had done a gig in a year. I was like, oh, well, what am I going to do, you know? I'm open, like, you know, so I grew up in the hood, so I didn't really have a skill.
Right.
Because, you don't like school, you don't try to get a trade. So you got kids.
Right.
I mean, I had money in the bank, and then I spent.
Right.
Then I spent all my money. I had a couple $100,000 in the bank, you know, spent all of that, you know, after about 3 or 4 years, 5 years, I'm barely on that.
Right.
Then I had, I had about 4 houses. I said, well, I'm not going to sell them, because if I sell them, get a loan on them, then what's going to happen then? You know, then I have to pay that money. I'm not making any money spending them. If I get loans on them, eventually I'm going to lose them unless something happens. So I was like, okay, I got to go get a job. So then I went and got me a job. I could, you know, done some other stuff, but I was like, no, I ain't going to do that. I think it was that Christian upbringing, but I have been divided that makes me in church so dope.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if it was totally the Christian upbringing. I think it's really a personal choice, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you really go down to it, whether you're going to do something right or wrong, you know? And so I just decided, well, I wasn't going to do that. So then I went and got me a couple of different little jobs, you know, nighttime. I had a friend of mine used to work for the 49ers. He had a janitorial service. I said, well, I'll work with you at nighttime. Nobody in the building. Nobody wants to see me. So
on the under.
I got Lenny Williams in the daytime and the janitor at night. So I did that for a while, and then his business went under, and then I picked up little things, and then one day I was at our famous lawyer's office in Love and Realize, because I had done that song with Kenny G, that Don't Make Me Wait for Love, on that 16 million seller.
Right.
And then they was acting funny over there, him and Clive Davis and them. So I'm over there, and then I see this lady who works in the office. She said, hey, hi, what you doing? I said, well, I've got a couple of daughters, and at that time I had 2 daughters, and my sons were grown. I said, so I'm doing my thing, and I just basically go up to their school all the time, and I'm a professional volunteer, and I work with different youth groups and stuff like that. She said, you want to go to school and learn how to do that professionally? I said, yeah. So then she was on the board of Westside Mental Health Clinic, the largest black health institution west of Chicago. So she got me hooked up over there. They started sending me to school and stuff like that. And then I became a counselor and working with probation and drug counseling, gang counseling, domestic violence. And then I did that for 10 years. And then Steve Harvey did Kings of Comedy. And then the phone started ringing. And I was like, man, everybody wants to see, who is this dude Steve Harvey talking about? So then I'd be taking off on Friday, and I'd take off to work later on Monday because I'm out doing shows. And then I'm praying to the Lord to let my career come back. Then Kanye West and TWISTA sampled me, and then I made almost $1 million just off of that one sample.
Ooh, look how it came back.
Then Scarface, and then Jeezy, and he just keep on going now, So I said, well, just gotta have, you gotta have faith, and you just gotta say you're never gonna quit,
Hey, you said something interesting. You said, well, it was Christianity, but also it was your personal decision. And, you really hit the nail on the head, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is your personal decision and the time you have to make a choice in that situation.
The streets are calling, but then it's like, I made a personal choice to do what I want to do. I'm sticking on music. I'm going to work. I'm going to be a little embarrassed. So she said, I told you, on Soul Train before, ain't you got Lenny Williams that did this and did that, and you over here?
Oh, won't people do that to you?
Yeah, they'll do it to you.
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? I'm like, well, I think they call it life. Something like that.
Tell us about where you're at right now in 2015. New project?
I have a interesting a relationship with blues, because when I was growing up, and my great grandmother and my grandmother and them would say, "Boy, don't be listening to that blues. That blues is festus." It was like whiskey or something. You know what I mean? Weed was like, they just don't listen to the blues. It's dirty and it's nasty and it's filthy. And then I be seeing my cousins and my aunties, my older aunties and uncles. They put on some blues and they just be having a good time. Like they just, on their way. You know what I mean? Like they just in euphoria. Good time at the blues. So I'm like, well, there's something wrong here. They saying it's the devil, and these folks is having the time of their life. So as I got older and I started studying music and everything, I realized that everything all American music comes from the blues, the gospel, the jazz, R&B, hip hop. Country music, all of it comes from the blues. And so I say, okay, I realized that, anything on the blues, so I decided that before I leave this planet, I'd like to do, some blues. So I just did a blues song. I'm working on a kind of a, not total blues album, but it's going to be an album that's going to have more blues than I've ever done. And so I'm excited about that. I'm not necessarily becoming a blues artist, but I'm definitely want to just do it, you know what I mean? So I'm doing a blues album right now, and I'm really excited about it. I've been on a blues tour, and we've been going all across the country doing that, so it's just been a ball.
Oh, that's the bomb. Right on. I'm so happy and inspired to hear your story, and it's really what needs to be out there. You are definitely a iconic factor in this music industry. How do you keep your vocal chops together after all this time?
Well, every day I do my little vocal exercises, and do that. And, when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I might wake up at 3 in the morning, turn it over or something like that, and I got to check them out. I say, "Whoa!" And then my wife be like, "Don't be doing that." She'd be like, "What's wrong with you? You crazy?" I say, "I'm checking out the money maker, trying to make sure that it's still working, doing my vocal exercises all the time, and trying not to yell and scream, all that kind of stuff. It has a secret voice, smoking, stuff like that. And, putting a scarf around the neck and all of that. And then, maybe one day a week, I just try not to talk, just don't, answer the phone that much unless it's, something really important, the wife or the kids. And, I just tell all the young people that are doing music, if God gives you a good voice and good talent, take care of it. Don't hide under no bush.
Right. Is there anything you want to let the people know about your music or your merchandise or any upcoming shows before we get out of here, sir?
Well, they can definitely check me out on iTunes and Amazon. My website is lennywilliams.com. I want everybody to know that I appreciate them supporting me over the years, coming to the show to find the records, calling in the radio station, requesting my music, and, I'm humbled by it, and I definitely don't take it for granted.